Good afternoon. This is the Rules and Legislative Oversight Committee. I'm Councilman Isaac Gitzi-Schleifer, Chair of the committee. To my left is Councilwoman Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Burnett. Councilman Torrance. To my right is Councilman Costello and Councilman Conway. We will go through the list that we have. When your name is called, please come up to the mic. Give us a brief overview of why you're interested in the position you're being nominated for. And at the end, we will conduct a vote. So first up, EA 23-0179, John McCulley, Member Board of Ethics. Is John here? Your mic's not on.
Hello? Yeah. Thank you.
Nice job.
Why don't you stay up there?
Thank you, Chair. John McCulley will not be able to attend today. We'll have to be rescheduling for his attendance.
Well, doesn't his nomination need to be heard before a next council meeting?
April 17th.
Yeah, but we have to get that done, prior to the council meeting by then. So, I mean, I got it. Are there certain dates that he's gonna be available? I mean, because we have him on the list here for tonight. We weren't given any other proposed dates. So, I mean, if he wants the nomination, he's gotta show up for the hearing.
We're looking for more options for him to be there between now and the April 17th deadline.
Councilman Costello, do you have a question? Yeah, I mean, it's a little problematic because this is the only hearing that's scheduled, executive appointments hearing prior to that date you listed. And so it just puts us in a bad predicament that we have to bring 6 council members, staff member, and the Charm TV people to come down for a hearing for somebody who didn't show up to their hearing.
We apologize, yeah, but he has informed us ahead of time that for personal reasons, he's not able to make it.
All right, I guess we will table that nomination for now. Next up, EA 23-0180, Rachel Marquez, a member of the Commission for Women. And when you're speaking, you don't have to wear a mask if you don't want to.
Hi everyone.
Bring them.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. My name is Rachel Marquez. My pronouns are she, her.
Your mic's not on. Give me a second. Councilman Costello, you want to get that? Hi, start.
Hello. Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here today. My name is Rachel Marquez. Pronouns are she, her. And I currently live in Remington with my partner and our dog. And I am grateful to be nominated today for the Baltimore City Women's Commission. I was going to start by sharing a little bit about myself and then why I am interested in this position. So I have my undergraduate degree in political science and international affairs. My master's is in globalization and development. So the primary focus of that was social economics, or how economics impacts people. And I currently work as a senior operations manager for a global health and supply chain project that provides technical assistance and life-saving commodities to people all over the world. I'm mostly here because I love Baltimore. I'm not originally from here. I'm from New York, and Baltimore really reminds me of the city of my childhood. Queens, back in the 90s and early 2000s, was very much a vibrant but misunderstood city with insurmountable potential. And I was raised there by a single mom. A single mom and my grandmother primarily, and I credit a really strong community of women for getting me to where I am today. And I'm here because I want to make Baltimore a more equitable place for everyone. I think that my background, specifically the work I've been doing on global health projects for the last 7 years, is directly transferable and would be a benefit to this commission and to the people of Baltimore. I bring to this position expertise in gender equity and social inclusion. I started the first gender equity employee resource group at my company, and I also provide best practices and advice to senior leadership across the company, both in my project on the global health side and also across a variety of different regions and technical areas. And then in addition to that, I'm a project manager, and I'm also coming from an operations background, and so I have a lot of experience starting projects from startup to close out, and I think that would be, and through all phases of implementation. I think that would be really valuable to serve women in the communities of Baltimore City. I hope to I see my role on the commission as a facilitator. I want to provide linkages between our local government and women in our communities to make our communities thrive. I think women are the backbone of our communities. We know if women thrive, communities thrive. And so, yeah, that's why I'm here, and that's why I hope to be a part of this commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, EA 23-0181, Flor de Maria Gusti. I see we have a letter, so that will suffice for today. EA 23-0182, Kevin Griffin Marino, member of Baltimore Hispanic Commission.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Kevin Griffin Moreno, and I'm a proud resident of District 14. And I am very pleased to be before you to offer a little bit of information about myself and my interest in being part of the Baltimore City Hispanic Commission. For the past 25 years, I've worked in the nonprofit and public interest sector in Baltimore City, and during that time I've had numerous opportunities to work alongside and in support of Baltimore's immigrant communities. I've been a case manager, I've worked in workforce development, I was a refugee resettlement officer, and I worked on workforce policy at the state level. I'm also the secretary of the board of CASA, formerly CASA of Maryland, which recently expanded to become a national organization. And I've learned a lot through that service about the needs facing immigrants in Baltimore and throughout the state. I love Baltimore, and I've been very gratified, as a Mexican American, I've been very gratified to see the response that the city has had to some of the needs faced by immigrant communities in our city. I would be proud and humbled to work alongside some of the folks who are in this room and others who care about our Hispanic and other immigrant communities in Baltimore. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Nope. Thank you. Next up, EA 23-0183, Marley Cardona Maz, Baltimore Hispanic Commission.
Hello, members of the council. My name is Marley Cardona Maz. I'm currently Chief of Communications for the Baltimore City Department of Transportation, and I've served as a Hispanic Commissioner in Baltimore City since 2017. I've been in Baltimore City for a little bit over and close to a decade, and I'd like to take a moment before I begin to acknowledge Catalina Rodriguez Lima, who is a commensurate public servant and an invaluable asset to the city and to MEMA. I'd also like to acknowledge Councilwoman Odette Ramos, the first Latina councilwoman in Baltimore City. So in the last decade that I've been in Baltimore, every slight of discrimination or every failed policy that doesn't uplift foreign communities feels very intimate to me. I've been in rooms where my community was referred to as a resource suck. I've been in rooms where I witnessed people speak to the disenfranchisement of my community by redistricting. And as an organizer with a background in labor and in bilingual wage theft for back of the house workers, as a loving and conscientious Latina, I will never offer up my community for less. It's my hope for the city of Baltimore that our efforts should always be aspirational and we should have the effort to match. In terms of my background, I have a master's in international nonprofit management. In 2011, I founded a library in El Salvador for the children of MS-13 gang members who are unable to matriculate into local schools because of their gang affiliation. In El Salvador, I honed my skills in violence reduction and also communications and literacy for populations with low literacy rates. As a Hispanic commissioner for Baltimore City, I've served on panels critical to resource allocation where representation was lacking. I participated in interviews that assess resource gaps for direct services, and I've helped Baltimore City become certified as a welcoming city. As Chief of Communications for the DOT, I routinely assess materials for cultural competency, the user interface for citywide rollouts of websites, and I believe that every step of inclusion is a building block to equity in this city. And what will create change ultimately will be the attitudes of our leaders and the policies that they affect. So I'm here today grateful for the executive committee that values accountability and humbled by the opportunity to contribute mi granito de arena to better serve the immigrant and foreign-born residents of Baltimore City. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, next up, EA 23-0184, Juliana Valencoa Banks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come before this very admirable body of government. And I'm so grateful, like Marley, for Catalina Rodriguez Lima and the amazing work that the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs has done. As an immigrant, as a Latina, as an adopted daughter of Baltimore City, it is a privilege to be able to come up and ask to be a part of the Hispanic Commission. I'm a proud resident of District 7. I'm a proud immigrant from Peru that has not only the lived experience of being an immigrant, but also being a Latina, being a person that's had to go through the first-generation college process of having to be that interpreter for your parents because hospitals, educational systems would not recognize that language access is a civil right, and that thanks to federal law, now it is something that we have to do. As an immigrant, for me, it's not just my work experience, but it's my lived experience. It's the ability to know who I represent and who I am. And my work experience has taught me that there is so much that we need to do to be able to say that we really are a country where we have equity and justice for all. My background in nonprofit management and working with immigrants has taught me that when it comes to education, we are not there, that our immigrant children are still dropping out at a much higher rate than other groups. That healthcare, while it should be recognized it is universal right, is still not accessible to people because of a piece of paper. That language access is not accessible to people, that immigration legal services and other social services that people need are not accessible to them because of language barriers or because of finances. For 7.5 years, I had the honor to work at Catholic Charities Esperanza Center, one of the largest, if not the largest, direct service provider for immigrants in Baltimore City. And I got to see firsthand what being an immigrant, being an undocumented person in this city meant, and the process and the lengths that people have to go to be able to get to that piece of paper. And why those barriers that prevent people from getting that piece of paper need to be tackled. And why, as our federal immigration system is a broken system, because if you think about the phones that our grandparents used, those rotary forms that you had to dial and wait to get a connection, right? That's our current immigration system, and we live in an iPhone world where we have a baby computer in our pocket. But while that rotary phone is striving to be an iPhone, at a local level, we can impact change, and we can make people's lives better. We can do this locally with such efforts like the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, and to be able to serve on a commission whose mission is to work towards immigrant integration and inclusion, I would be privileged to do that. I currently serve as Baltimore County's first Immigrant Affairs Outreach Coordinator, and my goal is to create an office similar to MEMA's in the county. And I have such a beautiful model to follow because of the tireless work of everyone involved with MEMA, and my colleagues here and my collaborators here, my fellow brothers and sisters in fight. I'm currently pursuing a master's degree in public administration, and so a combination between work experience, lived experience, and academic experience, I think would make me a good member for this commission. I thank you all for this opportunity and hope to have good news.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No. Okay, thank you very much. Next up, EA 23-0185, Lydia Walther Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, members of the council, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I want to take this time to again shout out Catalina Rodriguez for all of her tireless efforts through the years. I also want to give an incredible shout out to everyone at home who has lifted up their voices and has fought and demanded their rights as we continue to grow and expand as a city to become a true welcoming city for all immigrant community members. Again, my name is Lydia Walther Rodriguez. I am a proud Afro-Latina who immigrated from Panama. I arrived here in Baltimore City 15 years ago on a softball scholarship to play at Morgan State University. I am proud to continue in service and proud for this opportunity to be as a part of this incredible group coming together to ensure and bridge the voices of directly impacted immigrant community members to make sure that they have a seat on the table as well, and ensure that their voices are counted as we continue to discuss growth as a city, as we continue to discuss any service gaps that are keeping our community from trusting and receiving these benefits and services. And I plan to be of service and a resource through myself. I am the Chief of Organizing and Leadership at GASA. We are the largest member-led immigrant and working class families who directly serve immigrant community members, do direct advocacy in addition to community organizing. We have over 145,000 all-time members. Here in Baltimore City, we have over 20,000 members who have been advocating and fighting directly for their rights since we opened our center here in Baltimore City in 2003. As a resource and as a server, I plan and I commit to continue to bridge the voices of directly impacted Latinx and immigrant community members to this space. And again, I thank you for the opportunity for this nomination.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much. I will now entertain a motion.
Chair, if I can, just real quick, just say a couple things, or should I just do it when I explain my vote?
Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, colleagues. I just want to shout out all of the nominees that we've heard from today. And obviously, we heard another set of nominees for the Hispanic Commission as well. I'm super excited to serve with such an amazing group of people. And for our community, we need all of you. We here on the council have been working on language access for hearings and also for us, the city to hire more, frontline Latinos and Spanish speakers. We just need so many more, and all, whatever issue is happening in the city is also affecting our community. So I'm just grateful for all of you stepping up, and my colleagues. I encourage positive votes for this group. We're going to work together and make a positive difference for the whole city. So thank you.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion first for EA 23-0180, Raquel Marquez, Commission for Women.
So moved.
Second. Okay, moved by Ramos, seconded by Conway. Do we need a roll call?
Okay. Chair Schleifer.
Yes.
Chair Schleifer votes aye. Mr. Burnett.
Yes.
Mr. Burnett votes aye. Mr. Costello. Vice President Middleton is absent. Member Ramos.
Yes.
Member Ramos votes aye. Mr. Torrance.
Aye.
Mr. Torrance votes aye. Mr. Conway.
Aye.
Mr. Conway votes aye. Mr. Chair, there are 6 votes in the affirmative, no negatives. We can go to second read on Monday.
Okay, and the next one we do all as well.
Yeah, you can do all 5.
All right, I will now entertain a motion for all 5 members for the Baltimore Hispanic Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ramos, seconded by Conway.
Okay, this is EA 230181, Flor de Maria Gusti, 0182, Kevin Griffin Moreno, 0183, Marley Cardona Mars, 0184, Juliana Valencia Banks, and 0185, Lydia Wolfield Rodriguez. All right. Chair Schleifer.
Yes.
Chair Schleifer votes aye. Mr. Burnett.
Yes.
Mr. Burnett votes aye. Mr. Costello. Aye. Mr. Costello votes aye. The Vice President is absent. Member Ramos.
Yes.
Member Ramos votes aye. Mr. Torrance.
Aye.
Torrance votes aye. Mr. Conway.
Aye.
Conway votes aye. Mr. Chair, there are 5 votes in the negative. 6
It's
votes in the
positive.
negative,
Positive.
no
Positive.
negative, and
Positive.
6 votes in the positive, none in the negative. You guys will go to second reader at the next council meeting.
votes in the affirmative, no negatives. We can go to second reader on Monday.
All right. Congratulations. And then for the last one, EA 23-0179, John McCauley for the Member Board of Ethics. We will need some newly proposed dates that are mutually agreeable between now and then. And that needs to be agreed upon prior to Monday's council meeting so we can make an announcement on that. So that has to get done by Monday. Otherwise, we can't move that nomination. We are now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.